Let's talk about censorship and how fucked the internet is.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Oh, yes. What's your favorite Hermes Hades most shadow band duo and combo?
You speak for yourself, motherfucker. I'm afraid to even be seen with you at this point because people are gonna come for me. And I'm just this Caucasian white girl minding my own fucking business. Just kidding, it's a front.
Hanging around bad
Fuck the
influence.
system.
Right. I didn't think about it too, like Mercury and Hades, like Hades is saying too much taboo stuff and Mercury is saying too much stuff. Like we technically are scientifically supposed to be the most banned or
We should,
taboo.
right?
Yeah.
People just love to hate us, right? And they hate to love us. Welcome back to another episode of the Midheaven Podcast, where we assess the cosmos and the stars for you. You better not have COVID. Your ass just came back from Atlanta.
That's
Last time we cheers, you did have COVID.
Was that after Atlanta or before that?
That was after the strippers.
That was.
That's probably where you got COVID from.
That's crazy. I remember. So that means I left.
Hopefully the
before
alcohol
August.
kills it. White wine's not going to kill much. They could need something stronger than that. Speaking of something stronger, please support the channel. We appreciate your memberships and any donations and contributions because you guys make it possible for us to keep doing what we're doing.
Amen to that.
Mike is not a cheap person to entertain. He likes shrimp.
I'm a
cheese
young
sticks.
Nigerian prince.
And
that needs to be.
he likes fine liquors
hosted.
now.
I'm upgrading my tastes now.
Well, you know, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That wasn't a race comment. That's not a race comment. That was not making it racial. Stop the racial tension. You can cut it with a knife.
No, I was just interested in the remark. I thought that was cool.
Well, I mean, when you hang out with a second house stellium, everything's expensive,
Yeah,
darling.
Shout out to the Scorpios. Yeah.
So yeah, we're back here. Hope you guys are liking our content. Hopefully you guys liked our Pluto return video. We got some interesting feedback on that. And equally, our most recent video that we did also about, well, actually, the Pluto return's most recent. We also did Pisces season. So if you guys are like, hey, it's Pisces season, what's going on? Check out that video as well. I really have a stick up my ass, and not like a good, sexy, kinky way. I stick up my ass about censorship. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about this a little bit because I went on a rampage during the full moon and I put this 45-minute video out that was basically like fuck TikTok astrologers. And it's all
what
about
that came
censorship
to.
and what's going on with Meta and the fact that Meta, meaning, you know, Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok, they're all really going deeper and trying to make it a lot harder for content creators in these fields to be able to have visibility and be seen. This is something that's really kind of grinding my gears.
See how you scammers ruined everything for all of us? How to create all these fake accounts.
Can't tell you how many fucking Nigerians took some of my clients.
Oh
And,
my
and I'm
God.
not, and they really are. They're either Nigerians or they're Indians because I saw
They come from Abuja or
dialect.
like, that's crazy.
I saw the messages. It's
Or
really
from Bangkok.
It's sad though,
Thailand.
and it's been hitting all of the major kind of readers' accounts.
The
I've seen
crypto
it.
scammers that got me were from Nigeria.
That's some ancestral karma, right there. That's what
Oh my
that
God,
is.
yo.
They're coming for your daddy. That's what's
Damn.
going on.
Ouch.
They are.
I mean, it works like that, I guess.
I mean, I'm not saying it's like a personal attack. I don't know what your dad's done, but I'm just saying it's a Saturn thing.
No,
so.
I mean, it happened post-Saturn return, so... Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. That kind of...
I mean, you have a lot more to lose, obviously, in a crypto scam because they're only going to get you once.
Yeah.
But it's going to count. But I feel like a spiritual scam, they might get you for here, this, that, and the other.
They can
But then
keep
they hit
going.
you with that, give me $500 and I'll send you candles bullshit.
Ooh.
We'll get rid of that hex, that cloud that's surrounding you, you know, the third eye.
I just almost... But I just don't have sympathy for y'all getting scammed. Like... I mean, it is what it is.
Have you gotten scammed too? Have you been somebody who's, has there been an impersonator for your account too?
There's been an impersonator for my account. I will say I did almost fall for the trance because someone messaged me I didn't know who that was. And then they started to like, you know, ask for a reading. And then I was like, oh. And then I looked up the account and I saw it was an impersonator. And so I was like, nice try. Next time, try not messaging people for readings. That's what gave it away.
It just annoys me that they'll go to such measures to just steal everything on your platform and invade your space and do that and then take people's money. And
it's 8th house as hell.
People are saying that
house.
this is happening, the whole like process of removing like the search optimization stuff to this, because Facebook is sick of fucking bullshit with scammers, and it's easier for them, instead of to be filtering through all these scam accounts and these, you know, reports and things, to just limit the visibility of these particular groups, which I want to hear your side. I already went on a rant, so I'll spare you a lot of my rant. You can see it on my channel.
Word.
But what do you think about this? The fact that now as a content creator, it's going to be harder if you make a video, if you put anything out there with a hashtag, it's not going to get as much visibility.
Yeah.
If it's not constantly, like if you're following these accounts, guys, or if you're following these hashtags, you're not going to get as much of this content in your feed.
In your feed, right? Which,
right?
you know, from what both of us have experienced, we've already kind of had like a couple of years of that on YouTube alone. So to go through another round, I feel like it's a lot of corporate rhetoric, like on the surface, that's what it's going to help with. But then you do have these accounts of people who are forcefully unsubscribed from accounts, ghost deleted videos, basically just suppressed and shadow banned. And because our industry isn't recognized, they're not going to be willing to help us, as opposed to just kind of leave us under the rug. But personally, on the flip side, the first thing I felt for this was like, oh, this is dope. This is going to weed out all basically the competition, or like people who don't have solid followings or like actual like notoriety, and kind of even that playing field out.
See, I see both sides, because I can see where it bums me out, because eventually, you know, maybe you guys will notice this, maybe you won't, but you're going to get less content in your feed, which means unless you're an avid watcher of any major social media person, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, if you're not seeing it, if it's not in your face, you have to go looking for it.
You have to go looking for it.
Now, if you go looking for it and you're like, I know that every Monday there is a new Midheaven podcast, and whether I'm subscribed or not, I'm going to still go and look for that content. Awesome. You guys are fucking super.
Right.
Not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I'm like, okay, it is going to weed people out, and fuck all of these like Starbucks astrologers. That's just drive-through astrologers. They're just cranking shit out because they've done a 10-week program and suddenly they're an astrologer. I hate to break it to you guys, but like, I love my job, but being a reader is like being a garbage man. We have to sort and sift through everybody's bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
So we are like a karmic recycling system that's constantly
glorified janitor.
I mean, but that's what it is, right? It's not for the faint of heart. It's not an easy job to have, okay? All right? It takes a lot of money to look like this after 10 years of reading. I don't always look like this. Drains you of your life force. I'm secretly a vampire. So part of me is like, fuck those people that are like, hey, I have a bachelor's degree in marketing. I know a little bit about astrology. I'm going to jump in and just sell a bunch of shit. And it's spiritual capitalism at its finest. And fuck that. So...
And just to kind of speak on that, this is, I think what you're speaking on is so important and something that moving forward we're going to transform, but this is all a consequence of our field not being regulated.
Right.
So like anyone can just kind of do.
But if they were focusing more on verifying people in this field that are legitimate, like you can go
or if we came together and created a group, because there's conferences, but like if we kind of
those conferences are bullshit.
I thought so too.
The Aya conferences, the ISAR shit.
There's some legitimacy
unless you're
to
45 years old and you have a
Exactly.
penis and a ponytail, ain't nobody gonna let you stand at a podium and talk about astrology.
That's a fact.
It's true. You have a penis. Shut up.
But I don't have a ponytail.
You could if you tried. We could stick one on there and get you a weave or something. I fucking know.
I feel you though, yeah.
But it's true, and I don't want to do that. And so astrology has been, I was explaining this to my husband, because he's like, I I kind of get it, I don't get it. He's like, so you guys are like blockchain and everybody else is the big bank. I'm like, yeah, sure,
Right,
okay.
yeah, that's basically it. In a
But
way.
astrology is being divided now into you're either an entertainer, which means you're an astrological ass clown that's on the internet, which, okay, whatever, I can be that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or you're a 45-year-old man with a penis and a ponytail.
Reading mundane astrology.
And you're living in Seattle and just talking about retrograde cycles from the 70s. Nobody gives a fuck about that anymore.
That's so true.
So there needs to be a new system, right? So this is going to weed out a lot of the bullshit astrologers and the people that are fakes that have jumped in because they could sell mugs and tarot decks and all kinds of stuff and make money. I remember I was talking about this a year ago where I was like, I can't wait until this isn't popular anymore. Well, here we are.
Right, here we are. Yeah,
Here we are.
And it's going to force people, I hate to interrupt, it's going to force people to have to come up with unique keywords that aren't oversaturated. And you can only do that if you know what you're doing. If you've been doing this so long, you can now make it yours instead of like follow trends. So
that's
we get to innovate
interesting
it
because
now.
if we look at the very words that are going to be triggered,
Right.
because I know it's going to be astrology and tarot, but I'm sure there's other ones like maybe it becomes horoscopes, maybe
Right.
it becomes
Hashtag North Node in Scorpio.
like who fucking knows?
Right.
But the North Node in Taurus,
Hashtag North Node in Taurus, rather.
I think is going to talk about physicality. And this is one thing that I kept coming back to was,
Right. Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
make astrology in person again.
Right. Make astrology in person again. Astrology club coming soon.
Yes.
And shirt. That's a cap.
Right.
That's
So
perfect.
then I started thinking some of the most profound, I think, experiences that I've had when it comes to astrology has been sitting down, working one-on-one with somebody, going to a lecture for somebody I really admire, talking to an author that I love their work. Like, we have gotten away from that. And part of it's the digital age. Part of it's the fact that we've been in this fucking vacuum of living behind screens for 2 years. I'm hoping that even with the pressure of what's going on with the Saturn-Uranus squares, your astrology will evolve. And maybe part of what's going to start happening is that it's going to move more into retreats, like embodiment seminars, like going and physically meeting.
Doing a retreat this June, actually.
Where are you doing it?
In Mexico with an Aries, I met.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Shout out to Pernell.
In Tulum?
And not in Tulum, but I think in Playa. I don't remember exactly. It's a little bit close to Mexico City, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there you go. There's going to be more. And there's this stuff's been
more
going
physical,
on
yeah.
for a little while. You've seen like some of the Astrology Rising events and things that they've been doing. A lot of astrologers have been doing this for a while, but
It's more of a push, and I really like that you're mentioning that because in order with like everything you're seeing now is just like Candace is saying, it's affecting crypto, astrology, and these areas, but it's gonna come for you next too. Like everything you're seeing is gonna eventually affect everybody. And in the case of like astrologers, like now you really need something else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just forcing you to come into your own uniqueness. Like you can't really rely on what's used to work. Now the astrologers who kind of tie their brand to something unique outside of astrology or an addition to it are going to be more successful than the people who are just uploading like horoscope videos or
the gravy
pick a card
trains
reading
essentially,
videos.
like
Exactly.
winding down, you know? And if
Taking the old blueprint.
if this has been people who have been successful because they've been selling generated reports or they've been selling courses or they've been selling, you know, content, not necessarily like the one-on-one readings, survival of the fittest. Now we're going to see people who make it through what will probably be the new era of major astrologers. I think that's what's coming. Are the people who will have gone into groups and will have focused more on community stuff and also have been keeping these archetypes alive, which is why we still have astrology. There have been periods of time where we have been burned at the stake or not allowed to practice or whatever. And the reason why we still have some of this myth that comes from thousands of years of astrological texts is because we've had these periods before and we have a tendency to have to go underground and continue the work and carrying the myth and keeping the myths and the archetypes alive. So I think there's going to be more private groups, and I'm starting to think that the future really is going to be email.
And oh yeah, email lists for sure. That's your big bet, and your own individual websites. Uranus is asking for innovation. So how can you like take these principles and make it into your own thing, into something new? Because people who are able to do that are going to break through once again versus getting stuck on the same tried, solution versus coming up with a new twist to the archetypes, coming up
Yeah.
with new ways to say it, even if it's the same thing. You get over the algorithm like that and kind of hack it in a certain
I'm
way.
hoping it materializes as because it's a competitive field.
Yeah.
It's a competitive field. Like there's a lot of people doing it. There's not a lot of people who are good at it, right? Or legitimate. And so maybe perhaps this is going to set it up in a way where it's unifying astrologers, starting new clubs, but hopefully also new platforms. And that's something else I kept thinking about because after I put this video, I got a bunch of emails from people who were like, how can I help? This is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't fucking take on YouTube and Facebook. Like, I can't do that.
Right.
You know, but perhaps maybe if there are enough people who are interested in astrology, but outside of the field, who are like developers and people who know about analytics and people who understand how to build these platforms.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's going to be a platform that's going to come about that's going to be able to allow people within this community to upload and share content.
Donald Trump.
So did you see his thing? His son posted
His first post.
Or a picture of it on Truth Media, and it was like, "Oh, your favorite president is getting ready to see you soon." And I was like, "Of course!" Right around the time of the full moon on his ascendant, he's stirring the fucking pot.
Yep. Y'all better get ready because I'm leaving all my social media once that comes out, and I'm going to that one.
Really?
I'm making the migrate. You gotta find me on Truth.
Are you gonna wear a what is it? Trump 47 T-shirt?
Oh, I don't even. If he has that out, maybe. Honestly, I'm bowing out. I'm no longer voting.
I have an
I'll vote for
idea.
Ye.
What if?
Shout
what
out to
if-
you, Trump. Though I always support you.
What if Kanye ran for president and Trump was VP?
I mean, I don't see Trump doing VP. I can see Ye doing VP, but I don't see Ye wanting to do VP. I can see Ye compromising doing VP, but
Everybody knows it's like a Dick Cheney situation anyway, because Trump's about to be out of his fucking mind, just like Biden. So whoever the VP is definitely gonna be in the driver's seat.
I mean,
And Kanye's crazy enough to do it. We talked about his transits last year. I'm concerned for Kanye.
I mean,
I'm very concerned for Kanye. I am. With like all the squares and all the Neptune and the 12th house stuff he's got going on. I think he's going to either try to start his own cult later this year or be institutionalized, honestly.
As a fellow Gemini, like, we know how controversial people will react to what we say. And we know how crazy people can think we'll be. And we'll just
You guys are
fuel the
fucking crazy,
fire.
though. You guys will do some shit, but then behind closed doors, you're totally different. So all Mike and I do are send each other conspiracy videos about VAXs and Kanye.
Yeah.
I don't remember who sent it to who, but Kanye's whole thing where he sent a whole
Truck of
roses to Kim Kardashian, and then he was like, she was.
And then posting her.
Why
private text.
can't you keep our conversations private? And he's like, I'm your biggest fan. Like, he's fucking nuts.
This is like a Libra's worst nightmare, by the way.
Well, she's a Libra, and Venus has been retrograde in her fourth.
That is
She can't get rid
her
of
worst
him.
nightmare, I think. Just the private combos being expressed. Like, now I don't
But
know.
what's going on? Imagine Pete Davidson. I mean, this is really the man that's ruining. Please
I know a
insert
part of
all the
him finds
ridiculous
it-
Pete Davidson photos here.
I
Thank
know
you.
a part of him finds it, like, extremely entertaining, as annoying as it may be. Like, super annoying, but also kind of
Pete Davidson lives rent-free in Kanye's mind, and I don't understand
It
why.
used to be Drake, and now it's Pete Davidson. It
Which
got
is funny,
replaced with
right?
Scorpio to Scorpio.
Yeah, well, they're always the real villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, though.
That's crazy.
It's fucking funny that it's driving him that crazy. I mean, I feel bad for him, but there's got to be something else going on. That beef has to be way more than the fact that he's packing hate. There's something.
What we really need to know is, will he keep the same energy after his album drops? That's what I want to know.
It still hasn't come out yet?
Nah, 222 Pluto returns. So like a week,
Oh,
a week
okay,
after.
great. Awesome.
And he posted on his story about it. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of saw that.
I also saw the fact that he paid like $50K for a Super Bowl ticket, and he's wearing some fucking stupid ass mask with holes in it. So you're watching the Super Bowl and you can barely see. I don't get
the meme
it.
I saw, he was like, so someone who was right behind him was like, he heard Kanye being like, man, I wish I didn't have to wear this mask. It's so fucking hot. And then he was just talking with his friends like, yeah, I mean, it's, you should have just worn the eye contacts, the alien eye contacts like we told you. And then he said, okay, I'm not going to take it off. I got to make it to the whole thing. But he took it off.
Why did he wear it though? Is it like fashion?
Yay.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
It got too hot. He had to take it off.
How are you gonna drink at Super Bowl wearing that fucking mask, you idiot?
Oh my god.
Fuck.
It's just the principle.
It's fashion.
It's fashion.
It's fashion.
Yo.
I'm really concerned about this censorship thing. I have to be honest with you. From somebody who's been
shadow
banned repeatedly. I don't think I've seen somebody in Instagram or Facebook jail as many times as I've seen you. And then you also talked about the strikes and stuff that you've had on.
That's why I kind of felt a certain way. I was like, oh, now y'all know how I feel. Like, I didn't feel like it affected me because it's already affected me. If anything, like, it hasn't stopped me from growing a little bit. So I just kind of take it with a chalk of sand. But I see it as maybe a sign of things to come if this is the first step towards something greater.
It's a slippery slope.
Kind of.
You know, and you guys might not give a fuck because you're like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Give me my free tarot card reading for the month. Shut the fuck up, Scorpio. Right? You're getting that shit for free. Free 99.
Yep.
And once you guys stop getting that content and your world starts crumbling because you don't have that guidance, right? Then what?
Right.
Then we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be like, oh my God, what do I do? Because for some people, astrology is like a religion. I'm not saying it is, but it's like one. Or spirituality in general is like their religion. So it's like, can you imagine them denying the Catholic Church or the Latter-day Saints or the fucking, I don't know, whoever, being able to promote stuff about their religion? No, they wouldn't do that, right? They're not going to do that. They're not going to ban you being able to fucking put out ads for the followers of Jesus Christ or whatever.
Yeah.
But they will for astrology. And I think a lot of it is because by nature, astrology is actually meant to be unifying through the understanding of how we relate and why we are the way that we are, and acknowledging that and seeing everybody as individual, but that we're all connected.
Yeah.
And a lot of other spiritual practices are like that. So maybe perhaps part of what's going on is like the powers at bay right now are like, no, we don't want that happening. We need fear. We need division. We don't want people knowing what the game plan is. We don't want people on TikTok or on social platforms talking about when this invasion will happen or when that will happen.
And that is just such subtle nuance that they will never outright say that's what they write. So you gotta know how to read between the lines. And yeah, because that ultimately has far-reaching implications. Like
which is ironic to me, because I gotta tell you guys something.
Aquarius.
Rich people, and I mean really rich people, okay, and powerful people, think politicians, judges, big business, big pharma, people in tech, all of these people, believe it or not, have readers.
All of them.
All of them, okay? I read for a lot of them.
Popular.
They spend a lot of money
artists.
regularly and have some people on payroll to consult with, to know when things are going to happen, when to launch things, how things are going to go.
They even have readers to counter-check what the other readers did. Like they have accountants to
100%.
check the accountants. And they have so much money they could get the highest quality ones, like the CIA-trained operatives and remote viewing.
So it's crazy, right?
But that's amazing because all of this is occult and it's all shrouded and hidden in mystery. Just like the signature of the occult, right? And so that's the attachment of the 8th house to government, 10th house in Capricorn.
Well, and if you go into if you really want to go into the symbolism and stuff associated with like the United States and like the founding of the U.S. and stuff relating to the symbols on the dollar and all the other things that are very heavily tied into the Masonic history of the U.S., within that also is a lot revolving around mysticism and astrology and metaphysics and like ritual. Like that shit's real. Like you think the stuff that's been happening at festivals recently and deaths and all kinds of weird things are happening or just synchronicity happening? Like no. Like there's definitely something connected to that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. It kind of grinds my gears because, like I said, what happens in the midst of the next couple of months, just knowing what's going on with the transits, we're going to have this whole revolution. There's going to be a renaissance. And it may not affect you guys now, but what happens when artists and creatives and musicians and poets and other people who want to bring people together and create community to be able to really go headfirst into what's happening within this revolution, can't share their content.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder to be able to connect on the internet. It's going to be monitored. We're going to have to start getting out back into the world. We're going to have to start meeting with people. We're going to have to start sharing and teaching and exchanging and building community, which a lot of people don't know how to do. Or
want to do.
I feel like the tipping point in terms of like the generation that was beginning to lose that was definitely like the early to mid 90s. I don't know about you, but like I remember growing up, playing outside, riding a bike, going out during the summer, having friends, like doing things, not being stuck in front of a computer. And
like in the afternoon after high school, you just go out with some friends. I mean, it was really fun. Even into the late afternoon, coming back home before curfew.
The extent of like technology that we had was like
a fucking Game Boy. Video games, yeah.
Was a Game Boy.
And then going out to play video games with your friends,
which was in a console, not connected to the internet. You wanted to listen, you wanted to fucking get on AOL. Nobody in the house could be on the phone, and you had to listen to this horrible dubstep before it tuned in. And then and then some people had to pay per minute. I mean, it's like crazy. These days, I see 5-year-olds that are like in shopping carts and like out to dinner and stuff with their parents, and they're just glued to screens. And I feel like it's scary because we're starting to see younger generations become so consumed with screen time that we're losing the ability to socialize. And now we've lost 2 years. And my heart like breaks for like little kids and like younger people who have been confined and even more dependent and reliant on screens. And now they don't know how to socialize. So it's a perfect recipe for Meta. And Oculus and all this bullshit, because people are just going to willingly latch onto this even more, and it's going to become the new normal. And you guys may not care, but when they start coming for your content, when they start limiting what you can put out and controlling the narrative of what you can read, I mean, this isn't bullshit. I was reading stuff about what was going on in the Canadian border with the convoy.
Yeah.
And apparently people who are like posting in support of the protests and stuff, like there's like cops showing up on their door, knocking on the door, pulling people out of their houses in Canada right now. They're from multiple independent news sites are claiming that there were Canadian cops that were planting guns along the convoy sites, trying to suggest that they're terrorists, these truckers are terrorists, when in reality it's quite the opposite. They're trying to unite people and they're trying to peacefully protest. Like, people don't understand that the narrative can be twisted so easily, and then boom, overnight, Trudeau's like, oh, we're invoking, an emergency act and martial law. Like, in Canada, in fucking Canada.
That was my first impression. I was like, nobody gives a fuck what happens in Canada.
If the Canadians are protesting, even Canada
it's
the end of the fucking world.
Right. And now Canada's a supervillain? Like, that's just so, like, they're enacting, the Canadian government's a supervillain now? Like, that's just the last thing I'd ever... Even Canadians don't care about what happens in Canada like that. So for Canada to be, like, that important, it's just like, holy crap.
There's something going on. And my concern is just that it's leading up until we get to these series of events when we're going to start seeing planets conjunct Saturn and Aquarius, like end of March, beginning of April, where then there's the next set of limitations and regulations and things that are going to come. And best believe it's going to be on the internet.
It's going to be on
the internet. It's going to be on the internet. But it's also going to be politicians telling us sacrifices we need to make with travel, sacrifices we need to make because of environmental issues.
And sociocultural movements and influencers influencing you to go out more and get off the internet. But we still need you to be on the internet so you can watch our ads and... It's so interesting.
I don't think people are mentally ready or prepared to live in a world where we're not stuck to our phones. I read this thing. I can't remember where I read it. I'll have to find the information and cite it. But it was like an astrologer that wrote this whole thing that was about basically like mercurial intoxication and like the fixation that we have, and how you can be too mercurial to a point where we're just like fixated and obsessed with screens, and we start to kind of lose that interpersonal relation because we're so fixated on the internet or phones or sharing of information that we kind of get lost and intoxicated by Hermes, which makes sense. You get it because you have Mercury on the ascendant, right? And I have Mercury conjunct Pluto, so I get it. Now I have Saturn coming into a square right now with my Sun and my Mercury, and Uranus is starting to oppose. On a regular basis this week, my phone goes missing.
Whoa.
On a regular basis. I'll be like, where's my phone? I don't know where it is. And then I stop and I go, must not want to be found.
Damn.
And that's not like me, because I'm always like phone in hand.
Right.
And the more that I started thinking about this, I was like, wow, this is freedom. I don't have to check things. I don't give a fuck about who likes things. I don't want to know. I don't want to look at it. I'm almost borderline wanting to be like, what if I got rid of comments?
That's funny.
Right? Because I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't give a fuck. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to, Saturn's on my North Node. A lot of people are not going to like some of the stuff that I have to say or some of the things that I'm doing, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, wow, that's real freedom. Like the freedom of not worrying about emails and checking in on things and worrying about what people are doing and actually being more present and living life and being present in the creative process and not feeling like I'm creating for the sake of purpose of having an audience. It's just being like, this is what I think. It's amazing. I'm really, really, really liking it. Maybe you'll feel the same thing when Saturn starts scoring your Mercury.
No,
You'll have to let me know.
I have. It's different for me because I am Mercury. So like, it's an absent-minded form of meditation for me.
Right.
Where I'll acknowledge its addictive properties, but then I just use it for divination. So like, I'll acknowledge the distracting quality of it, but I'm allowing it to show me things. But I know that it's naturally gonna release when it releases. Because I mean, personally, I treat it like a handicap. So like, I know whenever I want to stop using it like that, I'll have so much room to focus.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm deliberately not wanting to focus. It's a little bit different for me because I've retarded Gemini mind. So like, I kind of want to be distracted, and it's like my way of being a kid and distracting myself. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of had that feeling where it's like, wow, if I can delete my Facebook, I would. I just need it for business. So
I'm on the same page.
everything that I do with social media, reading comments and all that, is for my job. And responding to all the comments and the messages are because I have to scan prospective clients. People ask questions, so
not to mention
I just made it my work.
The fact that, I mean, a lot of our businesses, I would assume, we built that a lot organically and because of passion.
Yeah.
You know, I never started in 2012 or 2013 going, I have this business plan, I'm going to take over. Like when I started my Instagram in 2013, it was because I was like, this is the book I'm reading. These are my cards of the day. It was purely passion, right?
Yeah.
And so now the more that I think about it, I'm like, everything is visible. You can see everything. There's so much free information, but there's also a lot of fucking trash out there. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're going to get what you're going to pay for. Maybe some of the best teachers are going to be people who give you those like sprinkles of information and then go, why don't you come join my group? Mm-hmm. You know, let's talk about it, and really making it something that's more intimate, making it something that's getting back to the wisdom, you know, traditions and secret kind of society stuff, and people who are really doing the work for the reason, with a good reason, rather than just like, hey, buy my tarot deck. Here's my thoughts on this card. Here's my thoughts on astrology. Like, there's a million people doing that. But the game is about to change.
Again.
And I'm so excited because I really do think that there's going to be like this new, I just have this feeling that there's going to be like this birth of like some major people in the astrology community that are going to lead the way for basically bringing groups together again in person, and also just doing more work. Like
having the resources to do it.
What if you got an astrology reading that wasn't just from one reader, but it was like a panel? Can you imagine something like that? Because
like a masterclass kind of service, you pay $100 a month, you get like the panel discussion.
Yeah, or like maybe
like
you had like,
cool.
you know, certain people who contribute. You got somebody who's just really good at talking about Pluto, really good about accessing information to the nodes or whatever. And when you get a report, it's going to be a compilement of several people giving you their perspective, because it's about stuff that's complementary and like working with the group. I mean, that should be a service as it is, but people aren't doing that because
they're competing
against each other. And like, really the race is long, but in the end it's with yourself. And if you're here in it to win it, I don't know. I'm so fucking over this shit. I just want to delete all my social media, but I have to keep it because I have to for work.
For work. No, it really tripped me out. It made me realize like, wow, everything I do on social media now is like for work. It's like somehow it's fun, but it's work, and I like that because it's cool. But like, it at least made me take serious what I'm doing, to where it's like, okay, now I'm ready to build physical presence. So that's like the next goal, like to get the office and to like now reach out physically, which is cool.
Well, and just start meeting with people.
Yeah.
Again, even if it's not necessarily for one-on-one sessions, although that's amazing, but it's like, you know, in a time sense, it's like, you know, I could meet with 4 or 5 people a day. I could do that because I'm doing those readings,
Yeah.
but doing that and doing it in one location is making it really difficult versus being like, okay, what if I meet with everybody virtually, privately, host events, go and do events, you know, and start kind of building community. I think there needs to be a new platform. I'm hoping that what emerges from this within the next couple of years is going to be a new platform that's not going to be censored and allow people to speak their truth.
Truth Network. And the coolest thing about that is, personally, you know, I think with this game changer, like the people who started since like 2010, 2012, you know what I mean? I think a lot of us, like this new game changer is going to bring back full circle a lot of success for us, whereas people who kind of just jumped on the bandwagon or have to play catch up.
You guys don't even know. People
and it's
who
going to be
started
really hard for them because of this, versus us, where we can just kind of elevate because we did
in the
work
last
already.
2 or 3 years, there's been this real popularity and surge in astrology, which is great because it's led to a lot of people waking up and having understanding, but it's been very solitary, especially if you've done it the last 3 or 4 years. It's been very solitary. So what I think maybe the benefit that people who've been doing it at least, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years,
10 years.
they have community. They've already worked with groups of
Right.
people. We had to pay our dues working with people. So
You know you're legit if you have to have, you know how astro.com gives you 1,000 charts you can do? If you've bought, like, so you got astrologers with emails that have multiple thousands of accounts. Like,
Yeah.
if you got those stripes, you're good. Like, you're straight. You did the work. That's like one of the indicators. So
I'm just excited to try to move forward ahead with like a local astrology chapter, like group in general,
Coming
because
soon, yeah.
we've been talking about this for weeks, and then I've also been talking about just like getting back on, like, you know, creating like newsletters and like focusing on email lists. That's something I've been doing the last like couple weeks, and I feel like, you know, the future is going to be difficult getting that stuff out there, but if you have an audience,
North Taurus coming back to traditional methods. Right, mailing lists, being public, I love that.
and also like email is the future, because they're going to totally
Yup.
eradicate the post office by the time Jupiter and Uranus are in Gemini. That's gone.
Build your mailing list. Build your mailing list. That's always been key, and it's more key now than ever,
Yeah.
which is lit. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you escape the ills of censorship and innovate your brand so that you can be amongst the leaders.
And band together, because fuck
Band
this
together,
bullshit.
yes.
This is it. Like I said, it's a slippery slope, and you may not care about it affecting our community, but when it starts coming for other people's communities and limiting your ability to see what's going on out there,
Yep.
maybe you'll help join the resistance. Let us know your comments below. How's it affecting you? Can you still see our stuff? Check your guys' setup on social medias. Follow Mike. He's obviously at The Peace Stealer. I'm at Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. If you guys want to stay on the up and up with both of our channels and our social media. Once again, thank you to everybody who's been supporting and subscribing, commenting, and joining our memberships. We love you guys so much. We'll see all of you very soon. Woo.